Okay, let's talk about gacha, the most important part of the game, right? So, first of all, how do you get to the gacha page? Well, because gacha is such an important feature, you can find a gacha right here on one of the main navigation items, and that brings you to the gacha page. So they've done a whole bunch of things since the last time I made a guide on this, and so the interface looks different now. So well, let's go from top to bottom. Right at the top, you'll see your total number of jewels. Next to that will be the total number of paid jewels. So you can't find the amount of free jewels you have on the gacha page anymore. That was done several years ago actually. And so if you really wanted to know how much of your jewels is free, you have to do some math, or you need to go over to the menu, head over to the shop, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and then there's a button here to check the number of free jewels you have, which is this bottom one. Okay, so now with that out of the way, the next thing next to all the jewel numbers is this weird thing that's telling you about star shines with information next to it. So this is for the star shine system, and there is a specific reward system all the way up to 250 as well. We'll go through this right after we go through the rest of the navigation buttons. So right below that, you'll see this information next to the box, and this shows you some of the basic box information. Generally, people don't read this. This is a bunch of warnings and disclaimers, probably usually for the legal department. You don't really want to know about that. Right below that is when the box ends, so that's important. This is in Japan time all the time. It does not adjust for the device time zone, so take note of that. I know some games do, this game does not. So then we have these 3 buttons at the bottom which are for pulling. The first one is your daily paid pull, right? So every 24 hours you'll be able to pay 60 jewels. It has to be paid jewels, which means it deducts from this number, and then you get 1 solo. Generally it comes out rare because it's a single pull. But the thing that you need to know about this is that it resets every time at Japan midnight or when the box change over. So you notice that the box doesn't change over at midnight. So that means that on the days where a box changes over, I can pull using the paid pull twice. Well, actually a little bit more than that, because each paid pull, paid solo over here is per box. So if I scroll to a different gacha box right now with this, I've seen that I've already done this box. But if I scroll to the memorial, I haven't done this box yet. So this is how the button would look like when you haven't done your paid pull. So these paid pulls are individual and per box. Alright, so let's go through the other pull button. This is the solo pull button. Previously it would just say, do you want to roll, and then you press OK and it goes. But now there's a whole bunch of other buttons here. This is all sorts of like legal information about inquiries. You never use this. You can ignore that at your own peril. And then here it tells you, okay, you have this much jewels. After rolling, this is how much you'll have. So you have 2 other options here. You can pull with items, which means that this allows you to use your solo tickets that you have. These are gacha tickets, they are single pulls, because I selected the single pull option. So if I press this button, it shows me I have 28 of these right now, and if I want, I can roll up to 10 at a single time. And if I press OK, this will roll on this box. The other option is actually to buy items. Right, so if I press this button, it shows me all the items I can buy that will give me paid pulls. In this case, it doesn't show me items that will give me single pulls. This one would give me a 10 pull, and all of these options here would also give me a 10 pull. But this option is also shared for the 10 pull option. So if you go over to the 10 pull here, same thing, you can use an item to per roll. In this case, I have 5 of these. The difference is that if I selected this, it would straight away roll for me when I confirm. Unlike the previous one where you can use multiple at once. The other option is to buy, which brings up the same menu as just now. And that will show you all these items. Just as usual, if you will want to buy these. So basically how the buy menu works is that it shows you a bunch of offers. You don't actually lose any money for buying these. If you are, but the only limitation is that these can only really be bought with paid jewels. So if you're using paid jewels to roll anyway, it's actually not a bad deal to get up one of these dresses or even the unit dresses from the dress shop. It's just that I've bought all of them so you can't see any of the examples. Okay, so that covers the main 3 buttons over here. Well, I guess I didn't say, but obviously the big pink button just rolls with your jewels right away. So if you don't want to roll with your jewels, use any of the other options. Alright, so this button right here, this shows you box information. So the first page will show, the first tab over here will show you the limited cards for the gacha, or if it's a permanent box, it will introduce you the new card that's being added to the permanent pool. Here it shows you the card stats. If you are interested in reading the comic for this, press on this button. It brings you all the way to the Gekijo. You can read it. We're not too interested in that. We're gonna go exit out of this. You can read it on your own time if you want to. And then the next one shows you in the model viewer. So loading this up, it tells me to rotate my screen. It brings me to the model viewer over here. And in the model viewer, you can view it just like you're using the, this photo studio option, right? So you can rotate the model around. You can't really angle the model in this mode, and there's obviously like limitations. You can't pose the idol, for example, but this will allow you to at least get an idea of what the card is like. Okay, so let's return back to the gacha screen. So back at the gacha screen, there's actually more information in this tab. If you press on this button, you see the awaken stats, the awaken art, and all of that stuff. If you like to hear the voice line for the card and preview the art in full, you can just tap on, you should be able to tap on this one, but unfortunately they didn't really implement that, so you can only really view the 3D model. I'm guessing that's because they implemented this whole very fancy background, so you don't have to preview cards anymore. If you go over to this one, this shows you your rates, which is important because a lot of people don't actually know rates. So first of all, premium cut appears at 20% chance. So that means that when you pull an idol, a 20% chance for it to be animated, and that applies to every SSR. So there's some exceptions to premium cut and which cards can be premium cut on pull, but that's a matter for another time. So this tells you the total number of SSRs and its rates, the SRs and its rates, and the Rs and its rates. So over here, if you look at the things that says that has this little gold icon next to it, it tells you that this card is rate up, right? So if you look at the percentages, you notice that this card has a higher chance of being obtained. If you click on the card, you can actually see the card now, and you can even go to the model viewer for it just like before. So this menu is actually pretty comprehensive because before you couldn't really see much of the information. So this list over here tells you, do they have a voice? And do they have solo versions of certain songs? Most likely Onegai Cinderella, but that's about it. So then it goes through the cute cards, the cool cards, and the passion cards. Now, the interesting thing to know about this menu that some people may not have noticed is that actually they are sorted in terms of order in which they're introduced. So the most recent card would be at the bottom of the list of that category. So for example, Hayate is the current gacha banner. And so if I go to this tab, scroll all the way down to underneath the cool list of limiteds, cool list of SSRs, sorry. And then I tap on this. This is the same Hayate card. It's the last one in the list. And that's the one that has the highest chance because she's the banner. But of course, then of course below you have all your permanent SSRs. So for Fest is very special in that the top set of SSRs are all Fest cards, but only a specific attribute is rate up. So currently right now, Hayate is a dance card. So all the dance Fest cards are rate up. The rest of the SSRs that are not dance would not get a rate up. So it's just a thing because the Fest box has a lot of cards in it. But the more interesting button is that you can press this. This shows you the skill information. So you can now actually see what kind of skill each card has when you're going to roll it. So you can see over here we have a symphony, we have a refrain, right? These are all the skill icons. What is the timer for each one, and then the activation chance. So this is useful if you wanted to know like what is the skill of some of these cards, because it's kind of hard to see and you don't really want to always go in and click into someone and go and find, right? Because that's a bit troublesome. So below that, you have all your permanent SSRs. This takes forever to scroll through, so we're not going to go through every single one of them. And the next tab tells you SSR and above guaranteed gacha. So what this actually is that if you do a 10 roll, the last slot is guaranteed to be an SR. So what are the rates? This page is pretty much identical to the previous one. It just gives you a little bit more extra information about the last slot. Well, there are some historical cases where the pools were not the same and that required compensation and stuff like that, but we're not going to talk about that right now, otherwise this video will be 2 hours long. Alright, so that brings us to the Starshine system, because that's the last thing that we need to cover about the main gacha. So, the Starshine system is the bad luck protection in this game. It happens at 300 people, and then when you reach 300, you can pick any card in the pool, any SSR in the pool. Most of the time, it's offered to be the rate up SSRs. Of course, there usually is a selection of perms as well they can select. So to find out what you can actually get with these, you can scroll all the way down, and you should be able to find one that says Starshine Scout, right? And press this button over here. Even if you don't have the required amount, like I don't, it shows you all the cards that you can obtain from the Starshine Scout. There are quite a lot of them. These days, they've expanded it to pretty much every single SSR in the pool. Previously, it'd be limited to like 20 cards or something that were scoutable. So, yeah, if you do happen to reach 300 rolls, you can pick any card. And this is called bad luck protection because it prevents you from having to roll infinite amount of times to get the card, because you're not guaranteed it. So this is the guaranteed roll at 300. Some people call this sparking because it's a term from Grand Blue Fantasy. The other terms that people use are shine and or in Japanese they use the term sealing, tenjo. But you know, whichever word you prefer to use, that is what the system is and how it works. If you do not reach 300 rolls within the gacha period, the amount of shines you have reset, and the shines turn into this specific items that are shine fragments. To view the number of shine fragments you have, go to the shop over here. This is the amount of shine fragments you have. There are other ways to earn it, that's why I have so many of them. But if you have leftover gacha shines, they turn into these fragments and they can be used to redeem certain items in your photo spot poses and all that stuff. This is an entire system in itself. We can't go over it in detail today. Alright, so what are the rewards that I mentioned just now? If you happen to roll on the gacha and you don't reach the maximum number of rolls, you still get a little bit of reward in between. So this is a stamina drink, then you get some pendants, then you get some tiaras, you get a clock, you get a ST trainer, you get a star rank ticket, and then you get a premium film. And this is for turning non-premium cards into premium cards. It's an entire different system in itself. We don't have time to go over that today either. Next thing, they recently introduced this new box, which is for the CM campaign, the commercial. And the main thing you want to know about it is that it is basically has its own sealing system. Over here, this is another shine gauge, and this is another shine item. And everything over here that you pull is limited to this box. Everything else works the same. You have the same buttons to go and check what cards are there. What are the limited cards? There are actually not that many, because they only feature cards inside the commercial. There are no cool idols at all, and they have specific skills. You can toggle to see everything that you want to do previously still works over here. You can go open the model viewer, you can view awakened stats. All works the same. The difference is you have to use a different currency. So this is called USA Shine. I'm not sure if they're gonna keep this name when they run a similar box in the future. because now is the year of the rabbit, and so I guess this is the kind of joke they're going with these days. Same thing over here. You can scout any card, but in this case, it seems like you're not limited to the idols just in that pool itself. It looks like I can select from all permanent cards as well, so that's pretty cool. So that pretty much covers the CM gacha box. It is basically another gacha box once it hits the 20th, and this time at midnight, not at 3 PM JST. All the unused USA shines get converted to star fragments as usual, just exactly the same as what I mentioned before. It all works the same, all the buttons here work the same. That's it. Memorial gacha. Everything here works the same as the previous gacha, except this gacha contains limiteds from previous years. This one's 2018 to 2019. You can go all the way back to the first box, which is 2015 to 2016. This is the button that I showed you just now. This button allows you to switch between boxes. But the good thing about this gacha is that everything that you roll here will accumulate currency for the entire set of Memorial. So if you go to the Memorial Shine page, which uses this currency called Luna Shines, you will notice that you'll be able to select from any card from any of the years. It doesn't matter which box you roll from. What matters is that as long as you have 300 of them. And another thing to know about Memorial Gacha is that remember the conversion to star fragments I was talking about earlier? Because Memorial Gacha does not rotate at all. However many times you roll the gacha, all that currency stays. So as you can see here, I have over 1,000 Luna Shines. Because this box is never going to go away. They're only going to add in a new box every year, and when they add in a new box every year, they don't get rid of your Luna Shines. So that means that you can just stock up pools, and then you can save for the limited that you want in a future year if you really wanted to do that. The other thing that you should know about this Memorial Gacha system is that the daily pulls are not shared across each day. So if I do this pull here, and I get my free R, well, it's not free, I paid 60 jewels for it. Hooray. So, once I got my R from this, 2018 to 2019, this button is now grayed out. But if I go to this year, you notice I can roll again. The paid daily for Memorial Gacha is not shared. Is not shared at all. So you can do a roll 4 times every single day if you really wanted to. This is probably the cheapest way to pay cash money for a SSR, Spark, or Sealing, or Bad Luck Protection. Because you only pay 60 per roll, but it's paid jewels, of course. So it's an option if you really wanted to. The rest of the things that you can find in the side menu over here may or may not show up for you. So for example, you might have SR Scout tickets that you have not spent. Then in which case you can press this button over here and use it to scout an SR. So I've got a lot of them from previous carnivals and other events. Once every 2 months there'll be something like this, which is a special gacha set. This contains a scout ticket which allows you to select any specific permanent SSR, and then it comes with a whole bunch of other items. In this case, it comes with a star rank trainer, a platinum film, a premium film, a 10 roll, and an SR scout ticket. So the 10 roll is always guaranteed to come with this set because you're paying 2,500 paid for it. The rest of the items change sometimes. Certain times it'll be money, sometimes it'll be something else. I don't know, tiaras or something. It depends on the month. So when you buy this set, you'll be able to use this here to go and select which card you want. And if you notice, I haven't bought the set yet. I'm still able to browse what cards there are here. If you like to select a specific card, use the filter system. There's all of that. Simple enough, right? So, I mean, the other way to check what are the idols that you can use is over here. I don't like this list nearly as much as this list because this list, you can filter, it's much easier. Alright, so this video has ran on for very long already. Event limited SR tickets works just like a normal SR ticket. You can use it over here, you can select which SR you want, and just note that there's a limit of 10 times you can scout the SSR. So it's written over here, this is the limit. So just need to be careful of that because you can only use it 10 times for a particular SR. Comeback ticket. So comeback tickets is an SR ticket that you can only use to select cards that you do not already that you already own. So if I were to go and pull up some cards over here, you will notice that there's this thing called scout restriction. That's because I have scouted it within the past year. You can only scout the same SR once every year. So there is a restriction in when you can do it. And those cards that are restricted will be labeled over here. That's the main thing to know. Alright, we're getting to the end here. Training gacha is one of those things that you can do without paying jewels. It costs friend points instead. And every day you get a roll for free. So if I roll my training gacha, it gives me one single trainer ticket. Simple as that. The training gacha costs 10 times the amount of local gacha, which is the next item. Local gacha is basically, it has normals, it has rares, it has SRs. The SRs is only about 0.2% drop rate, so don't rely on this to get your SRs, okay? It's suffering, it's bad. So you can also roll a 10 pull every time for free, but if your inventory is full like I am, I'm gonna get this menu. It's gonna tell me either I need to raise the amount of slots I have or I need to get rid of some cards with lessen. So because I am too lazy to organize my inventory, I'm not gonna do that. But this works basically the same as training gacha. Next thing you'll see over here is that this is the Platinum Select gacha for a very specific kind of card. This is a specific ticket, right? What is this ticket type? Let me go over here to the shop. I can show you, it is this specific ticket right here, Platinum Selection Gacha ticket. For this ticket, it allows you to select and it allows you to restrict the amount of cards inside the gacha. What does that mean? It means that the cards that you don't want to get, you can remove them, but for a price. You see there is a restriction max number of idols you can exclude, and it goes up to 299. But not everyone will have it at 299 or whatever the current number is when you open this. This number is determined by how many unique SSRs you own. It doesn't have to be permanent SSRs, it counts fests, it counts limiteds. As long as you have a unique SSR, it counts to this number up to a maximum number. The maximum number is the total number of SSRs currently available minus 1. There are 300 SSRs available, minus 1. That is the amount of SSRs you can exclude. So what this is basically if you have enough SSRs, it becomes a scout ticket where you can select any card you want. So right now I have it such that if I rolled, I would get Hijiri because there are no other cards inside the pool. But if you were to not have enough, then you would have to include some other cards that maybe you wanted, something like that. And when you roll, you have a chance to get any one of those cards. That's just how the system works. So for the most part, most people will get this if they are subscribed to the premium pass system. Otherwise, they normally do not issue out this particular ticket for free, so you may not have a chance to see it if you're not a paying player. Alright, the other one is this producer level SSR gacha, right? Guaranteed SSR gacha. So if you press this button over here, it shows you that for reaching a specific level, you can use 250 paid jewels to get a guaranteed SSR. Now, at the higher levels, I believe it starts giving you limited SSRs. So over here, up to level 50, it gives you normal SSRs, and over here it says limited. So there are some limited SSRs. The only thing to note is that the pool for these are different, right? Some of the other SSRs compared to the main limited pool that is out there, there is a restricted amount of cards over here. You notice that I can't find any of the newer cards. Right now I see from personal knowledge that it only goes up to Memorial 4, which is Yuki, and then you have Miu, and you have the other Yuki. So this is actually Memorial up to Memorial 4 only. When they renew it next year, it might go up to Memorial 5. So that's basically it. So this is not all SSRs, but it gives you a pretty good selection, and worst case scenario, you get dupe medals, which will be another system that you can make use of. This video has gone on for long enough already. I doubt anybody will be still watching at this point, but that's it. The very last item. If you have participated in Live Infinity, you would have this specific SR ticket that it gives you, right? So if you open the page here, it shows you like the tickets that you have. Now, when you get a ticket, it's locked to that idol. So if you selected, for example, if I selected Arisu for my Live Infinity character, I cannot ticket any other card other than Arisu. And so if I press the use button over here, it shows me I've got the option of these Arisu cards that I can choose from, including her normal for some reason, if you wanted that. So the selection from this is very limited, and you don't really have that many options. But it is a thing in case you wanted to make use of it. So this is, for now, presently a Live Infinity only feature. You get these tickets from Live Infinity and you can use them from this page. And I believe that covers everything in the gacha menu. So now you are an expert at how to navigate the gacha menu and how to use it. So with that, you can commence your gambling, and I hope you guys have fun. Try not to lose all your life savings, and remember to like, subscribe, share this video. I don't know what all the normal YouTubers say these days. This video has gone on for far too long. I doubt anybody is still watching the video at this point, honestly. But if for those of you who somehow made it all the way to the end of this very long lecture, congratulations. Thank you so much for sticking with me and making it feel like I've made a good use of my time. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video.